Good evening, folks. It's your bro Richie here. Today's video, I'm gonna take a break from doing Fast and Furious. In today's video, I'm back with another car explanation video for you all. Today's video, I'm now going back into doing Lamborghinis. So, if you've seen my previous Lamborghini video, I recently done the Miura. I'd say a couple weeks ago, I think. Somewhere around there? I don't know. And after I did that, I moved on to Fast and Furious. And I realized that I have a lot more Lambos to do, and a lot more other cars than what I do. Sorry, I'm just a bit like I'm under the weather still. Like what I mean is like I'm not really feeling that well. Like I mean, I've been coughing too much. Oh God. I know that it is killing me to death. Not really to death, but it's just sorry, my eyes are just burning. Oh my God, this just burns. Oh God. My eyes are burning, and I'm just coughing, and I'm tired, and I just want to sleep, but I'm not gonna sleep at the moment because I want to get the video started right now, which I am gonna do right now. So today's video, I'm going back into doing Lamborghinis, so that's gonna be pretty cool. And I'm also gonna be doing some other cars. There's one particular car manufacturer I wanted to do for such a long time, and it is it's from Germany actually, and it's related to Lamborghini. Yep, you know what it is. It is Audi. So yeah, it is Audi. Like I never done I can't remember if I did Audis before. I'm not really 100% sure. But yeah, I think I did. Yeah, the one from Furious 7. That was the one I did. So like the Audi R8 from Furious 7. I think it was a 2014 model year. I can't remember, but yeah, I think that was the only one I did. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was the only one I did. I've got no clue. Like, I'm 100% like, I think it was. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's the only one I did. Not like I'm not too sure, but I think it was. So I'll be doing those, and then after that, I'll either do some more Fast and Furious cars, or I want to do like driving laws, which I haven't been doing for a long time. I'll be honest. Like I've not been doing it for such a long time. Not for like, say, a couple months, somewhere around there. I don't know, but probably around there somewhere. So I'll try my best to like what I can do to like improve a lot better, and but we'll see how it goes. All right, so today in this video I'll be talking to you about one of the, I think also like one of the all-time greatest Lamborghinis. So I'm going back to doing Lamborghinis. If you've seen my previous Lambo video, I did the Miura, which was pretty good. So now I'm gonna be doing the so I'm gonna be doing so I've done the Lambos, I would say great great grandfather, or just I would say great grandfather, the Miura. Now we're gonna be talking about his grandfather, the mighty Lamborghini Countach. So yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool considering I am a fan of Lambos, like a big fan of Lamborghinis. Always loved them because they're known as bedroom wall posters, which is 100% true. Like people would just get like posters of Lambos and just stick them on the bedroom wall, which It's pretty cool. Like, it was literally badass. Which is also known like in all the Top Gear series, which is true, that Lamborghinis have always been like the best Benjamin poster cars. And that's it's just pretty cool, you know. Just it's been like a while. It's been a long time since I've done Lambos. I mean, I'm more of a Ferrari guy, but when it comes to Lamborghinis, I quite like Lambos, you know. I was mostly like not most. Oh, I used to become into supercars, but I got out of supercars because you know these days supercars tend to have problems, you know, like parking, even like you know going over speed bumps. They cost so much to buy, insure, and even to fix up as well, and for fuel as well. It just costs so much. And it wouldn't really do so well for fuel as well because it got such like small fuel tanks in supercars. Well, I mean, a decent amount, but it's not as much as you would expect it to be. Depends on how you drive it. If you drive steadily, it will go great. But however, if you tend to go crazy and drive super fast, like ridiculously, stupidly, like stupid fast, then the fuel economy will just drain. So that's the problem with supercars these days. You know, price obviously is a huge problem. It got like 200 300 grand, depending on which supercar from what manufacturer, so like from what manufacturer model and version you would get. So you know, like price, like practicality. You know, supercars are not good with practicality at all. Um, so price, practicality, fuel as well. Mileage. I know most of you might not be interested in mileage and fuel economy, but I'm kind of interested in some of it. Well, used to like and like build quality as well, because you know like older supercars these days they wouldn't really tend to have the best, like they don't not tend to have like the best build quality of like depends on like of how they're built. You know, for, take like take American cars for example, like muscle cars, like they look good, but the build quality is horrendously bad, like of how they're built, like literally like something like this or that kind of sound. It was just my console, my Xbox One, just for the demonstration. Like something like a little bit like kind of like some plasticky-ish type of feeling. Like I can't really explain it, but like American cars these days, they would tend to be built badly. They have so much plastic and cheap-ish kind of feeling to it, like you know, components as well. Like they don't have such bad interiors. Like the build quality is terrible. Like interior, exterior as well. Like the bodyworks would not be that good. They would have terrible suspension and brakes. They wouldn't have such good power, even with gigantic engines like 5 liters, 5.7, 6 liters, 7 liters, 7.5, 8 liters. You name it, it happens. They have such less horsepower, like 180, 90, even 200 horsepower. Not just with a V8, but also with like V6 as well. It wouldn't handle good. It wouldn't stop that well, depending on the type of brakes and suspension you would use as well, and all that kind of stuff. Mainly European cars are better built, because they'll tend to handle better, whereas American cars, they're really good for the quarter mile, but for cornering, not as such. But the modern American cars, they do work better, with better brake, suspension, steering, gearbox, all that kind of stuff. And also for gear changes in old American cars don't like shift that well, depending on what car you would go with and how, like, if it's easy to shift or not. I'm talking manual wise, not automatic. Well, automatic gearboxes, I think would kind of tend to fail. Because in different times, if you're driving automatic, they would usually like, I'm not sure if this happens, but they would they would change a gear at any time. Sometimes upshift, downshift, upshift, downshift, like, just go different gear, like second, third, fourth, sixth, fifth, blah, blah, blah. It would just completely, like, change up the different gearings at different times, for automatics. Sorry. But yeah, it happens, I mean, it's not just in Europe, but also in America and Japan and everywhere around the world would kind of have that problem. But what can we do? I mean, if they're built like that, then they tend to like function like that. They tend to function like this. But modern ones wouldn't have much of a problem. Depending on where you go with, really. And people would say be careful what you wish for. Because you never know like what kind of consequences you would face of what you would choose for cars. Like, well, at one moment you would think, wow, I have to get this. So you get it, and then the next moment you realize, what did I do? You realize you made a big mistake, and you would tend to regret it afterwards. And it would depend on anything, like we have cars, sports, job, anything in the world. It's not just for motoring, but it could be for anything. Like, things happen, like when we least expect it to. It goes wrong, we learn from our mistakes, we try again. Even if it won't work, we just have to give it a go. Because if we don't have a go, how is she going to know if it will be possible or not? It's always important to always try something. Always just have a go at something before you think if it's good or not. It's always important. It's not the end of the world, but always just go with what you got. Anyways, so let's get started. So we have 12 minutes, so we should probably get started right now. So today in this video, I'll be talking to you about the next Lamborghini vehicle. So I already done the Miura. Next up is its next brother, or I would say great grandfather, or I'd say, I don't really know. The Lamborghini Countach. So before I start, make sure you all like the video, subscribe, comment. So like the video, subscribe, comment down below what you guys think, and hit the notification. Excuse me. Hit the notification bell and hit all. So hit all, so you're literally going to make brand new uploads. Alright, so over 13 minutes, so let's get started. So without any further ado, let's begin. So the Lamborghini Countach. Here we go. Buckle your seatbelts. Put the car into first gear, manual or automatic, doesn't matter. Deactivate the handbrake, or e-brake, whatever you want to call it. And let's get the show on the road. Yeah, okay, so Lamborghini Countach. Here we go. So Lamborghini Countach is a rear mid-engined rear-wheel drive supercar. The notice is it's a sports car, but it's more of a supercar. Produced by the Italian automobile manufacturer Lambo, or Lamborghini, if you want the proper method, from 1974 until 1990. So until 1990. So it's between like somewhere like the early mid 70s till the very early 90s. It's one of the many exotic designs developed by Italian design house Bertone, aka Gruppo Bertone, which is commonly known as Bertone, which is an Italian industrial design company which specialized in car styling, coach building, and manufacturing. It's also It's also a car manufacturing company. Bertone styled cars for Abarth, Alfa Romeo, Aston Martin, BMW, Citroën, Ferrari, Fiat, Iso Revolta, which I never heard about, but it's basically both a car and motorcycle manufacturer. Lancia, Lamborghini, Mercedes, Opel, and Volvo, and among others. So it's one of the many exotic designs. So exotic designs. So designs developed by Italian design house Bertone, which both pioneered and popularized the sharply angled Italian wedge design. Not design, sorry, Italian wedge shape. There we go. So I apologize if you guys can hear those droplets. It's because it's raining outside. Pretty much it's been raining for less than a week right now, which is just unbelievable. Which is probably going to be happening as well tomorrow or the next day. Who knows? We'll find out. But at some point it will get warmer. Who knows? Worth a shot. Fingers crossed that it will change. Say fingers crossed it will change. Let's hope for the best. Okay, next up, overview as always. So let's begin. It's one of the many exotic designs developed by Italian design house Bertone, which both pioneered and popularized the sharply angled Italian wedge shape. Overviews next. So let's begin. Manufacturers by Lamborghini or Lambo. Lambo. Production was from 1974. So 1974 to 1990. 1990. So 1990. Assembly is in Sant'Agata. So Sant'Agata Bolognese, which is a small commune for those who don't know what it is, it's basically an administrative division of Italy, roughly equivalent to either a township or a municipality. Kind of said it right almost. Say, small commune in the metropolitan city of Bologna, Emilia Romagna, in the north of Italy. Say north of Italy, or northern Italy. Say northern Italy. It's notable for being the headquarters of the luxury automobile manufacturer Automobili Lamborghini. So Automobili Lamborghini. So its assembly is in Sant'Agata Bolognese in Italy. So overview: manufacturer Lambo. Production year from 1974 to 1990. Assembly is in Sant'Agata Bolognese in Italy. Designer is Marcello Gandini. So Marcello Gandini at Bertone. So that's the designer. So designer. Body and chassis next. The class is a sports car. It's the S segment. So S segment, but it's referred to as a supercar. Body style is a two-door coupe. Layout is longitudinal rear mid-engine rear-wheel drive, just like a proper sports car layout almost. Well, the only difference is a sports car would have a engine at the front. Kind of almost a proper supercar. Well, I think a proper supercar layout is all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive with mid-engine. So the class as a sports car is the S segment. So S segment or supercar stands for class. Body style is a two-door coupe. The layout is rear layout is longitudinal rear mid-engine rear-wheel drive. So longitudinal rear mid-engine rear-wheel drive. The doors are scissor doors. It's related to the Lamborghini LM002, which is like this off-road Lambo, which has a V12 between 5.2 to 7.2 liters. So it's a 2-liter difference in the V12 engine. And the V12 is a little bit different, but I will explain to that very, very soon for my next Lambo video. So hopefully we'll see how it goes. I don't know, but we'll find out. So the doors are scissor doors. It's related to the Lamborghini LM002 or LM002 off-roader. So off-roader. Powertrain is next. The engine. We got for both the LP400 and LP400S. So S is 3.9 liters. So 3.9 liters, almost 4 liters by 0.1 liters short. So both the LP400 and the LP400S. So LP400S. Next up is the LP500S with 4.8 liters. So LP500S, which has 4.8 liters. And then we got the mighty 5000 QV 5000 QV 25th anniversary version with 5.2 liters. It's the same engine capacity as the V10 Lambos, like the Gallardo, Huracan, and so on and so forth. And the Sesto Elemento as well. So yeah. So engine for Lambo V12s, we got the 3.9 liters for both the LP 400 and 400S, 4.8 for the 500S, and 5.2 for the 5000 QV 25th anniversary edition. Yeah, 5.2 liters for that. So 5.2 liters for the 5000 QV 25th anniversary edition. So 5.2 liters. The transmission is a 5-speed synchromesh manual. So transmission is a 5-speed synchromesh manual. This is pretty good, better than crappy automatics. I'm not much of an automatic fan. I'm more of a manual enthusiast. Like, manual cars are just better. So powertrain engine for Lambo V12s, 3.9 for LP400 and 400S, 4.8 for 500S, and 5.2 for 5000 QV 25th anniversary. Transmission 5-speed synchromesh manual. Dimensions is next. Wheelbase is 2400. Wheelbase is 2400. Excuse me. So wheelbase. So on dimensions next. Wheelbase is 2450 millimeters. So 2450 millimeters. So dimensions, wheelbase 2450 millimeters, which is 96.46, almost round up to like 96.5 inches in wheelbase dimensions. Length is 4,140 millimeters, which is approximately 163 inches. Even though it says 162.99 inches, I just rounded up. So length 4,140, so 4,140 millimeters, approximately 163 inches. So 163 inches. Width, for the width, there's two types. So two types. It's between 1800, so 1880, so 1887 to approximately 2000 millimeters, which is around between 74, so 74.28, or around up to 74.3 inches, to 78.7, round up to like 79, to almost 80 inches. So between 1887 to 2000 millimeters, so 74.28, or round up to like 74 point, between 74.3 to 78.7, which is like almost 79 inches. So 74.3 to 79 inches. For the shorter one, it's for the LP400, and then for the rest, it's got the bigger dimensions for the width. Height, 1070, so 1070 millimeters, 42.13, well, technically 42.1 inches. Curb weight is next. There's three types. We got the LP400, 400S, and the 5000 QV. So starting out for the first one, for the 400, it weighs in at 1300. It weighs in at, so for the LP400, it weighs in at 1300.5. Well, technically 1300 kilos approximately. So curb weight 1.3 tons, which is pretty good. It's not bad. It's pretty good. So it's like 2,867 pounds. It's pretty good. That's for the LP400. For the S version, slightly, like a little bit heavier, so a little bit more heavier. 1,351 kilos. So 1,351 kilos, which is 2,978. So 2,978 pounds, which is around 51, like 51 kilos and 111 pounds heavier than the standard LP400. And they got the last one, which is 1,488. Second one, the 1,351 kilos, 2,978. So 2,978 pounds, which is with a 400S. This is for the more sportier version. And then we got 1,488 kilos, which is 3,280 pounds. So 3,280 pounds. And that is for the LP5000 QV. Chronology is next. It's the predecessor is the Miura. Successor is the Diablo. So the direct successor, the Diablo. And for the nameplate successor is the new Countach LPI 800-4. So it's a much better version of the original Countach chronology we're on. Predecessor Mura. Predecessor Mura. Successor is the direct Diablo, and then the nameplate Countach LPI 8. So successor is the direct Diablo, and the nameplate is the successor for the nameplate is the Countach LPI 800-4. So 800-4. Alright, moving on to the next part. So that was the nameplate. Anyways, the style was introduced to the public in the year 1970. So the start of the very early 1970s. I say very early 70s, as the Lancia Stratos 0. So the style was introduced to the public in 1970. So the very early 1970s, as the Lancia Stratos 0, or Lancia Stratos 0. I'm trying to say it in an Italian accent. Concept car. The first showing of the Countach prototype was at 1971 Geneva Motor Show. The year the new Mustang Mach 1 was even released. So yeah, like the brand new Mustang Mach 1 back in 1971 was released. So was at so the first showing of the Countach prototype was at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show, as the Lamborghini LP500 concept. The Countach nameplate was reused for the Scion-based limited production hybrid electric model called the Countach LPI 804 back in 2021. So it was 3 years ago, almost 4, because very soon we're getting quite close to the end of 2024 in like a couple months, and then after that'll be 2025. Can't wait to see what that'll be like, but we'll find out. So yeah, the Countach nameplate was reused for the Scion-based limited production hybrid electric model called the Countach LPI 800-4 in 2021. Next up, design and development. So there's quite a lot on there, but a lot on there, but I'll get this done. Alright, next up, design and development. Here we go. The development of the Countach was initiated by Ferruccio Lamborghini. Say Ferruccio Lamborghini. Oh god, I'm super tired right now. So, the development of the Countach was initiated by Ferruccio Lamborghini, with the goal of creating a successor to the Mira. The Mira was widely acclaimed after its intro in 1966. So in 1966, but by 1970, new competitors, including the Ferrari Daytona, like the original one, not the latest Daytona SP3, because that's completely different, but the standard Ferrari Daytona. So the mirror was widely acclaimed, acclaimed after its intro in 1966, but by 1970, new competitors, including the Ferrari Daytona, had been introduced to the market, and the mirror was showing its age. Chief engineer Paolo Stanzani, born July 20th, 19 July 20th, 1936, passed away January 18th, 2017, age 80, in Bologna, Italy. He was born. He was born. Died. He was born and passed away at the same place in Italy, Bologna. And he was an Italian. He was an Italian mechanical engineer and automotive designer. So the mirror was widely acclaimed after its intro in 1966, but by 1970, new competitors. So by 1970, new competitors including the Ferrari Daytona had been. So including the Ferrari Daytona. So Ferrari Daytona had been. So the Ferrari Daytona had been introduced to the market. And the mirror was showing its age. Chief engineer. So the mirror was showing its age. Chief engineer Paolo Stanzani and his staff began work on the Miura successor in 1970. So in 1970, under the project name LP12 or LP112, or just simply LP112. Just make it a little bit easier. From the start of the project, Stanzani's or Paolo's collaborators included test driver Bob Wallace. So test driver Bob Wallace. So Bob Wallace. So from the start of the project, Stanzani's collaborators included test driver Bob Wallace. So Bob Wallace, assistant engineer. So test driver Bob Wallace. So Bob Wallace, assistant engineer Massimo Parenti. So Parenti, and designer Marcello Gandini of Bertone. Both Stanzani and Ferruccio Lamborghini agreed that the Miura's successor required a mechanical design. So mechanical design. So design. Design that enabled the greatest possible performance, as well as a body that was both aerodynamically efficient and aesthetically daring. These principles had formed the Miura's development and and enabled the commercial success of that model, despite despite Mr. despite Mr. Lamborghini's so despite Mr. Lamborghini's preference for comfortable Grand Tours or comfortable GT cars, I would say, he recognized uh, the commercial value of a more uncompromising sports car or supercar, you would say, like the Mira, and gave Stanzani's team permission to further push boundaries with the LP112 project. The resulting Countach incorporated successful aspects of the Mira, such as rear mid-engine, rear-wheel drive layout, along with many new engineering and styling innovations. Lambo, Lambo's engine, excuse me, Lambo's engineering team addressed. Lambo's engineering team addressed several flaws in the Mira's design. So, so in the design improving high speed stability and reducing liftoff oversteer, as well as addressing the limited maintenance access, uneven weight distribution, and cooling issues. So cooling issues endemic to the Mira's transverse engine layout. After a year, a year later, a year later of intensive, so after a year of intensive intensive development work, the first Countach prototype, designated LP500, was shown to the public at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show. Subsequently, the Lambo engineering team spent 3 years refining this radical prototype into the production ready LP400 Countach, which debuted in 1974. Next up, we got the name of the vehicle. And after that, we got styling and engine and transmission. Then chassis and body construction. And prototypes. Pretty much into there. So subsequently, the Lambo engineering team spent 3 years refining this radical prototype into the production-ready LP400 Countach, which debuted in 1974. Alright, next up, name. The Countach name originated in late 1970 or 1971, somewhere in there, near the start of the LP112 project. Most previous and subsequent Lambo car names are associated with both famous bulls and bullfighting. But the Countach broke with this tradition. So broke with this tradition. It's kind of shocking. Is that shocking to hear? The name originated from the word contact, or kuntak. Can't really pronounce it well. I think it's Italian, I'm not sure, but it's spelled Contacc. An exclamation of astonishment in the Piedmontese language, which is a language spoken by some 2 million people, mostly in Piedmont, a region of northwestern Italy. This is one of the 20 regions in northwest Italy. So the name originated from the word contact, an exclamation of astonishment in the Piedmontese language. Marcello Gandini, the designer of the Countach, explained the origin. There we go. The origin of the name. When we made cars for the car show. Excuse me. When we made cars for the car show. When we made cars for the car shows, we worked all night and we were all tired, and we were all tired, so that we'd joke around to keep our morale up. There's a profiler working with us who made the locks. He's 2 meters tall, with 2 enormous hands, and he performed all the small jobs. He spoke almost only Piedmontese, didn't even speak Italian. Piedmontese is much different from Italian and sounds like French. One of his most frequent exclamations was Countach, which literally means plague. Contagion or contagion, I can't really pronounce it, but it's spelled C-O-N, T-A, so T-A-G-I-O-N, so C-O-N-T, so C-O-N-T-A-G-I-O-N. It is actually used more to either express amazement or even admiration, like goodness. He had this habit. When we were working at night to keep our morale up, there's a jousting spirit, so I said we could call it Countach, just as a joke, to say an exaggerated quip, without any conviction. So without any conviction, there nearly was Bob Wallace, who assembled the mechanics. We always made the cars operational. At that time, you could even roll into the car shows with the car running, which was marvelous. It was marvelous. So jokingly, I asked Bob Wallace how it sounded to an Anglo-Saxon ear. He said in his he said it in his he said it in his own way. Strangely, it worked. So it worked. We immediately came up with the writing and stuck it on. But maybe the real suggestion was the idea of one of my coworkers, a young man who said, let's call it that." That's how the name was. That's how the name was coined. This is the only true story behind this world. This is by Marcello Gandini. Not just Bulls. The creator, the creator, the creator tells us the story behind. So the story behind the name Countach. Alright, we're gonna Lambo used a system of alphanumeric alphanumeric uh, alphanumeric designations. So designations in order to full in order in order to full in order to further in order to fully can't pronounce this word. So I'm gonna translate this. In order to
delineate.
In order to delineate Countach models. This designation begins with LP, an abbreviation of the Italian longitudinale posteriore, meaning longitudinal rear. I think I said it right. How's it say in Italian? Hold on.
Longitudinale posteriore.
Longitudinale posteriore. Nailed it. There we go. Like I could have said nailed it, but snailed it is just a better word. Longitudinale. So longitudinale posteriore. Brilliant. Meaning longitudinal rear. This refers to the engine. So both the engine orientation and placement shared by all Countach models. For both the prototype and early production models, LP was followed by a 3-digit number designating nominal engine displacement. 400 for 3.9 liter engines and 500 for both 4.8 and 5-liter engines. Therefore, the full name of the first production Countach was the LP400. So LP400, as in the Miura, the letter S, so S short for sports, was added for later high performance variants. So variants. This naming scheme was so this naming scheme was disrupted by the 1985 LP 5000. So 5000 quattro valvole. So or quattro valvole. So quattro valvole equipped with a 5.2 liter engine, also called the 5000 QV. So 5000 QV, the LP designation was dropped entirely from the 1988 25th anniversary edition, also called the Anniversary. Kind of odd, but that's how it is. Next up we got is styling. And then we got engine and transmission. And chassis and body construction. And prototypes. It's also called the Anniversary. Next up, styling, because there's a lot for styling I gotta do. Anyway, let's move on. The Countach was styled by Marcello Gandini, or just Gandini in general, of the Bertone Design Studio. It's a design studio. His design for the Countach's predecessor, the Mura. So the Mura achieved commercial success and both commercial success and critical acclaim for the automotive press when it was introduced in March 1966. So early 1966 it was, of the mid-late-ish 60s, somewhere around there. Following the Mura's debut, Gandini began experimenting with a new, more angular and geometric design language in a series of concept cars for Lambo, Alfa Romeo, and Lamborghini, Alfa Romeo, and Lancia. In particular, the '68 Alfa Romeo Carabo and the 1970 Lancia Stratos Zero, or basically the Stratos HF0. So HF0 were direct styling precursors to the Countach. Like the original Countach, they're both entirely wedge-shaped mid-engine designs with a low flat front, truncated tail, and angular details. Angular details. Both of these concept cars featured unconventional methods of entry into the passenger compartment. A hinged windshield for the Stratos Zero and scissor doors for the Carabo. So for the Carabo, foreshadowing the scissor doors used on the Countach. At the start of the LP12 project in 1970, Lambo commissioned Gandini, so both Gandini and his team at Bertone, to develop a body for the then unnamed prototype. Chief engineer Paolo Stanzani. So Paolo Stanzani supplied the design team with chassis info. So chassis info, so that body design could proceed, while the mechanical details of the prototype were finalized. Almost like financialized, but finalized is the word. Shortly before the 71 Geneva Auto Show, I say 71 short as in short for 1971. Say before the 71 Geneva Auto Show, The finished chassis was shipped to Bertone, where both the prototype bodywork and interior were both installed. The resulting Countach LP500 prototype was unveiled at the 71 Geneva Auto Show, where its unconventional design drew great public interest. Great public interest and extensive press coverage. The LP500 prototype had a crisp wedge-shaped design that, compared to the Mira, was both wide and very low, but shorter in overall length. Overall dimensions. Overall dimensions of the prototype were 185 centimeters. I think it's supposed to be millimeters. So 185 centimeters. 185 centimeters. 73 inches wide. So 73 inches wide. 103 centimeters. 41 inches tall. So 41 inches tall. So tall. And 401 centimeters. 158 inches long. So 158 inches long. The front of the prototype, or the nose of the prototype, tapered, or tapered, whichever we want to call it, sharply to a thin grill and uninterpreted slope enabled by a headlight. So an uninterpreted slope enabled by headlights in retractable housings that flipped down inside the body when not in use. So like it flips down when it's not being used. That's pretty cool. The prototype's body lacked bumpers, aerodynamic spoilers, side mirrors, and any other addition that would have interrupted the lines of Gandini's design, which I think is agreeable because it would have less drag and less weight to the car. Sounds good. So the prototype's body lacked bumpers, aerodynamic spoilers, side mirrors, and any other addition that would have interrupted the lines of Gandini's design. Trapezoidal. It's like saying trapezoid, but adding the letters A and L at the end. So trapezoidal shapes appeared throughout the body, including in the windshield, side windows, so windshield or windscreen, side windows, door openings, hood or bonnet, engine covers and taillights. Air was supplied to both the engine and side-mounted radiators. So radiators through louvered vents immediately behind the side windows. Although road testing quickly demonstrated these vents alone were inadequate to control engine temperatures. So these vents alone were inadequate, so not able to control engine temperatures. The interior of the prototype was equally notable to contemporary audiences as the exterior, as it incorporated new technologies or tech and bold styling decisions. Gandini initially sketched a dashboard with all digital readouts. For the Countach. This dashboard design wasn't fully realized in time for the debut. The LB500 prototype instead used a conventional analog speed and tachometer, speedometer and tachometer, speedometer and tachometer. However, the LB500 dashboard incorporated other innovations from Gandini's original sketches, including either aircraft or spaceship inspired warning lights. So warning lights placed essentially on the steering column within the arc of the steering wheel. Sorry, I'm just so tired now. So within the arc of the steering wheel, one of these warning lights, one of these warning lights served a similar purpose as a modern automatic cruise control system. It's a cruise control system, illuminating when a set speed was exceeded. Another invention I mentioned was the inclusion of an onboard diagnostic system long before their standardization. Standardization and widespread adoption that displayed the status of the car's individual subsystems superimposed on a schematic view of the entire car. The entire car located on the dashboard to the driver's left. So the left side of the driver's side. The left side of the driver's side. Due to the poor rearward visibility inherent in the Countach design, a periscope was integrated. So a periscope was integrated. Integrated into the passenger compartment roof instead of a conventional rearview mirror. This periscope system was obtained from Donnelly Mirrors. Donnelly Mirrors, who first developed it for an ESV, so experimental safety vehicle project. So experimental safety vehicle project. Gandini also used a single spoke steering wheel and deeply recessed bucket seats. So bucket seats, which shared a stylized motif of segmented blocks. The low seating position, prominent transmission tunnel, so gearbox tunnel. The tunnel and wide door sills all contributed to the sensation of being inside the race car interior. The scissor doors of the Countach prototype were a prominent design feature carried over to the production Countach, as well as many subsequent Lambo models. First appearing on Gandini's '68 Alfa Romeo Carabo concept car. They attached to the car structure at the front of the door using horizontal hinges so that they lifted up and tilted forward when opened. The mechanism was assisted by gas struts, or just a gas spring or gas damper, which supported the weight which both supported the weight of the doors and smoothed the both the opening and closing motion. Gandini incorporated this door design as both a styling gesture and to facilitate entry. The car's wide chassis and high and wide door sills made entry using conventional doors difficult in narrow spaces. Conversely, care needed to be taken in opening the scissor doors under low ceilings. That is definitely a problem. Under low ceilings, it's just going to dent the bodywork. Due to poor rearward visibility and the wide sills, many Countach drivers park by opening the door, sit on the sill, and reversing into the parking spot while looking over the back of the car from outside. It goes with the modern Lambos, right? Those scissor doors, like Murcielago, Diablo probably as well, Event Store. I've seen in Top Gear, like Jeremy Clarkson done that with the Aventador. God, I forgot what episode that was. The season. Oh, God. I'd say it was season 15, 16, 17? I can't remember. So due to poor rearward visibility and the wide sills, many Countach drivers park by opening the door, sitting on the sill, and reversing into the parking spot while looking over the back of the car from outside. The scissor doors made it difficult to exit the car following a rollover accident. Like when the car would flip, like crash and flip onto its side or its roof. So the scissor doors made it difficult to exit the car following a rollover accident. Like, for example, let's say if your Countach will roll onto its roof, or on the side, it will make it completely difficult to actually get out of the car. Say following a rollover accident, Lambo engineers studied solutions to this problem, including an easily removable kick-out windscreen or windshield, or using explosive bolts. Okay, that sounds harsh. To remove the doors following an accident. Although neither were incorporated into the production Countach. prototypes. So 500 prototypes. Public debuts. The body design was progressively altered during pre-production. So during pre-production testing, pre-production testing to improve aerodynamic performance, high-speed stability. So high-speed stability, engine cooling. So engine cooling and ability to meet mandated safety requirements. This resulted in many differences between the LP500 prototype and the production LP400. So production LP400. I'll be back in a minute. Charger. Alright, next up. Alright, so this resulted in many differences between the LP500 prototype, so LP500 prototype, and a production LP400. The most visible change was the addition of several vents. So several vents to improve both engine cooling and air intake. These included NACA, so National Advisory Committee for Aeronautics ducts spanning both the doors and rear wings on each side and protruding air intake boxes. So air intake boxes, which replaced the louvered vents behind the side windows. So behind the side windows, the slope of the nose the slope of the front was made. So the slope of the nose was made shallower, so kind of narrower. I think, I'm not sure. To reduce excessive front and downforce that destabilized the prototype during braking. The side windows insect with small trapezoidal glass sections were changed to horizontally split. So horizontally split. Two-piece windows with a retractable lower half. So lower half. Additional small windows are added. So were added behind the side windows. So behind the side windows, slightly improving rearward visibility. The futuristic dashboard and diagnostic displays. Diagnostic displays. Seen on the prototype were replaced with a conventionally styled dashboard So styled dashboard using Stewart Warner analog gauges with a single spoke steering wheel. So while the single spoke steering wheel was replaced with a three spoke steering wheel similar to those used on other production Lambos. For those who don't know what Stewart Warner is, it's basically an American manufacturer of vehicle instruments. For example, gauges and like lubricating systems, steering wheels, shifters, pedals, all that kind of stuff, and many other products as well. It's like many other parts. The futuristic dashboard. It's a dashboard and diagnostic displays. So diagnostic displays seen on the prototype were replaced with a conventionally styled dashboard using Stewart Warner analog gauges, while the single spoke steering wheel was replaced with a three spoke steering wheel similar to those used on other production Lambos. The periscope rearview mirror was retained for the LP400, but for subsequent Countach models, is replaced with conventional rearview mirrors. So conventional rearview mirrors. The overall dimensions of the LP400 were slightly bigger than the prototype. At 189, round up nearly, like 190, so 190 centimeters, 74 inches wide, so 74 inches wide, 74 inches wide, 107 centimeters, 42 inches tall, so 42 inches tall, and 414, so 414 centimeters, 163 inches long. So just 163 inches long. The styling of the Countach. So Countach was continually altered as new production models were introduced. Later additions, including flared wheel arches, spoilers, carburetor covers, and front and rear bumpers, progressively changed the Countach body in order to improve the model's performance, safety, and appearance. Despite these updates, the basic shape, or standard shape of the first Countach prototype, revealed in 1971. So 1971, the year the Mustang Mach 1 was released, remained virtually unchanged, so completely standard over its 19 year lifespan. So 19 years, crazy. I mean, I'll be turning 19 years old this year. Like, wow. Can't believe can't believe time flies. It flies by fast. Really. So despite these updates, the basic shape of the first Countach prototype, revealed in 1971, remained virtually unchanged, so completely standard over its 19-year lifespan. 19-year lifespan. Next up, engine and transmission, or gearbox, whichever way you want to call it. The Countach was designed. The Countach was designed around the existing Lambo V12 in the rear mid-engine rear-wheel drive layout. In contrast to the Mira's transversely mounted engine, the V12 in the Countach was longitudinally mounted. This layout was a first for a road-going V12. Previously used only in the Ferrari P-Series race cars. P-Series race cars. However, Chief Engineer Paolo Stanzani wanted to improve the weight distribution of the car even further and devised a new type of longitudinal layout that would avoid placing the mass of the gearbox at the rear of the car. The resulting configuration had the output shaft at the front of the engine, immediately connecting through the clutch assembly to the gearbox. The gearbox itself was a 5-speed manual with a Porsche type synchromesh. So Italian gearbox with a German synchromesh to it. It's a Porsche type synchromesh, and was mounted in the middle of the car between the two seats. The drive shaft ran from the gearbox through the engine's oil sump to a diff at the rear, or differential. This arrangement effectively, sandwiched, or just basically combined both the mid-mounted gearbox and the rear-mounted differential, or diff. This configuration had numerous advantages. So like pros over the Mira's transverse engine, which that was like the cons, the disadvantages basically, including an increase in stability from placing more mass near the cars. So more mass near the car's center, a shorter overall wheelbase, a more direct gear shift linkage for both easier and faster shifting, better cooling, and easier maintenance access to engine components, or just engine parts in general. The Lambo V12 used in the Countach originated in 1963. It was designed by Giotto Bizzarini, born June 6, 1926, died May 13th, 2023, age 96. Man, passed away a year ago. like unsure like what the cause of death was. Like it's unknown, so we don't know how he passed away. But may rest in peace. I still don't know what the correct birth method is. I generally got like no clue at all, like whatsoever. So, so the Lambo V12 used in the Countach originated in 1963 and was designed by Giotto Bizzarini, who was an Italian automobile engineer who was active from the 50s through the 70s. So from the 50s through the 70s. So designed by Giotto Bizzarini. So Giotto Bizzarini. So Bizzarini. Versions of this engine were used in preceding and then currently produced Lambo models, including the 350 GT. So 350 GT, so GT, 350 GT, 400 GT is Lero. So is Lero. Espada. So 350 GT, 400 GT is Lero, Espada, and Mira. As used in the Mira, this engine had a 3.9 liter displacement, a 3.9 liter displacement, a 60 degree cylinder bank angle, double overhead camshaft, so double overhead camshafts per bank, 2 valves per cylinder, lubrication and distributor ignition. Paolo Stanzani's engineering team wished to increase the Countach's engine's power over the maximum 374 horsepower. So 374 horsepower as seen on a Mira SV. So Mira SV. The 3.9 liter version, so 3.9 or 4 liter version, has been tuned to be rated approximately between 412 to 434 horsepower. And 434 horsepower is the same amount of power as the performance pack version of the Porsche Macan Turbo. In the experimental P400 Jata edition of the Mira, but an engine of this spec was expensive to manufacture. And was difficult to handle in normal city driving due to the lack of low RPM power. So low RPM power, which is a problem for supercars these days. They would work well in like the track and like highways, but in town, in big cities, never. Even small towns. So due to lack of low RPM power. Say low RPM power. Say power. Therefore, the engineers, the engineers decided to increase the engine's displacement to 5 liters. So 5 liters, in order to extract more power while avoiding the usability problems of a race-tuned engine. This increase in displacement would require a major redesign of the existing V12. So existing V12. Lampo's plan was to produce the 5-liter engine in time for series production and published specifications. So specification sheets or specification papers for the proposed production 5-liter engine at the 1971 debut of the prototype. Lampo reported this engine would be rated at 440 horsepower at 7,400 RPM. Pretty good. I mean, it's not fast. Pretty good power. One experimental engine was constructed by boring out a conventional 3.9-liter engine block and was fitted to the Countach LP500 prototype for testing purposes. So for testing purposes, it incorporated many lightweight castings made from a electron, so which is an alloy. Electron. Kind of sounds like a name for science, but without the C, it's replaced with a K. So electron, an expensive magnesium alloy. So an expensive magnesium alloy. So alloy. This engine self-destructed. So this engine self-destructed. So self-destructed. It's like blew itself up, kind of, during a 1971 road test by Bob Wallace. Rest in peace. So Bob Wallace. I sometimes repeat it because I can't really say it well. This made it clear that further revisions to the basic engine design were required to improve durability. The LP500 prototype was subsequently fitted with a 3.9-liter engine. So 3.9-liter engine for the remainder of pre-production testing. The first production cars used a 3.9-liter engine. So 3.9-liter engine. So 3.9-liter engine as durable. So the first production cars used a 3.9-liter engine. So engine as durability. So durability issues with a new 5-liter engine couldn't be resolved in time. As equipped to the 74 Countach LP400, the engine was rated at 8,000 RPM, 370 horsepower. Pretty good. The stated power output was less than that of the Miura SV. So Miura SV, which was blamed on the use of side draft Weber 45 DCOE carburetors. So carburetors instead of the downdraft carburetors. So Weber 45 DCOE carburetors. So DCOE carburetors, instead of the downdraft carburetors used on the Miura. See, instead of the downdraft carburetors used on the Miura, later engine development eventually increased to engine displacement to 4.8 liters. So 4.8 liters in the 1982 LP500S. So 1982 LP500S. So 500S. And then to 5.2 liters. So 5.2 liters with 4 valves per cylinder and the 1985 LP 5000 Quattro Valvola. All variants of the Countach were equipped with 6 Weber carburetors. So Weber carburetors until the arrival of the LP 500 QV model, some of which used Bosch K Jetronic 1973 to 1994. So 1970 used 1973 to 1994. So 1994 Bosch K Jetronic fuel injection to meet U.S. emissions regulations. Eurospec cars continued to use carburetors until the arrival of the succeeding Diablo, which will be my next Lamborghini car after I do the Countach. Alright, next up, chassis and body construction. Both Paolo Stanzani and the Lambo engineering team developed an all-steel partial space frame chassis. So an all-steel partial space frame chassis for the LP500 Countach prototype. So for the LP500 Countach prototype, this prototype chassis was constructed of both a steel sheet and square section steel tubing with wall thickness between 0.8 to 1, so 0.8 to 1 millimeter, so 0.031, so 0.031, sorry, 0.031 to 0.039 inches. The front section primarily used both stamped and spot welded sheet steel, with certain areas, so spot welded sheet steel with certain areas stiffened by both stamped ribs and welded reinforcement panels. Stiffening stiffening frames constructed of both sheet steel and tubing. So sheet steel and tubing. So tubing extended through the center of the car. Although both door sills and around the central transmission tunnel. So along both door sills and around the central transmission tunnel or central gearbox tunnel. The rear part of the chassis consisted of almost entirely square section tubing and included diagonal bracing, both diagonal bracing, bracing and multiple cross members for strength. This prototype chassis was constructed by Marchesi of Modena. Which had produced chassis for earlier Lambo models. The prototype chassis was both stiffer and heavier than the Mura chassis. It weighed 107 kilos, 236 pounds, while the Mura's, so 107 kilos, 236 pounds, while the Mura's chassis weighed 75 kilos. So 75 kilos, 165 pounds. So 75 kilos, 165 pounds. The additional weight was partially due to the lack. Partially due to the lack of the lightning holes used in the Mura, and partially due to the need to construct an extra durable chassis for pre-production testing. In addition to both the strength and stiffness, engineers believed that greater use of steel tubing would result in a chassis that was easier for the factory. So both easier for the factory to fabricate and easier to protect from corrosion. So from corrosion. Following testing of the LP500 prototype. So LP500 prototype during 1971. Both Stanzani and his team decided to further revise the chassis design. Both the dimensions and layouts were similar. So dimensions and layout were similar, but both the sheet steel and square tube construction used in the prototype were entirely disregarded in favor of a full space frame constructed of welded round section steel tubing. Compared to the prototype, this design used a much more complex welded assembly of cross-braced tubular frames. Tubular frames. It was reinforced with sheet metal gussets in a few key areas. Tubes of 30 millimeters, 1.2 inches, 25 millimeters, 0.98 inches, and 15 millimeters, 0.59 inches diameter were used, all with 1 millimeter, 0.039 inch wall thickness. Overall, this new design was both stiffer and weighed less at 90 kilos, 198, almost 200 pounds. At the time, it's almost 100 kilos. At the time, this construction technique was used in the F1, but was extremely advanced for a road-going car, or automobile, whichever way you want to call it. In addition to the performance benefits of this design, engineers recognized that building a technologically advanced and visually complex chassis would align with Lambo's marketing strategy and sell better than a conventional design. The full space frame chassis was tested in a second Countach prototype and would be used basically unchanged on subsequent production cars. Chassis fabrication added a significant amount to the cost of the car, and each chassis required laborious hand welding, first by Marchesi, then again during final assembly at the Lambo factory. However, logistically, this method of fabrication was relatively easy to incorporate into the low volume, manually skilled production line. Both prototype and production Countach bodies were constructed primarily of unstressed aluminum panels. Stanzani had initially considered fabricating body panels, so panels from the lightweight alloy Aviano, also called duraluminum. So duralumin, aka duraluminum, or duraluminium, which is a trade name for one of the earliest types of age-hardenable aluminum or aluminium copper alloys. Stanzani had initially considered fabricating body panels from the lightweight alloy Aviano, primarily used in aircraft construction, but found it expensive, both expensive and difficult to obtain. A more conventional aluminum alloy was used. So a more conventional aluminum alloy was used instead. Prototypes used aluminum panels between 1 to 1.2 millimeters thick, increased to 1.5 millimeters, so 0.059. So I think it was 0.039 to 0.019, I think it was. I can't remember. For inches, so for inches between 1 to 1.2 millimeters thick. Anyways, so increased to 1.5 millimeters, 0.059 inches, right up to nearly 0.06 inches. For the production LP400, the aluminum body panels were fabricated by Bertone. These panels were supported by thin steel thin steel thin steel frames. So thin steel thin steel so thin steel frames. So thin steel frames. Welded to the main chassis. So main chassis. Once the panels were in place, factory workers would then handcraft them in order to adjust the final body shape. So the final body shape, surface smoothness, and gaps between panels. as the space frame chassis didn't have an integrated floor panel, both a separate fiberglass and aluminum panel. So aluminum panel was installed underneath the passenger compartment. Although the LP400 used an all aluminum body, later versions of the Countach would incorporate body components made of both fiberglass and carbon composites, aka carbon fiber reinforced polymers, or CFRP for short. Alright, last part is prototypes now ended there. Wow. Lambo created three pre-production Countach prototypes prior to the intro of the LP400 production model. The first prototype was the LP500, which was displayed at the 1971 Geneva Motor Show and later used for pre-production testing and development by the factory. This car has many both mechanical and styling differences compared to the production LP400. It's built on a partial space frame steel chassis, which was both heavier and simpler compared to the production version's full tubular space frame. The bright yellow bodywork closely followed Gandini's original design for the car, but was modified during testing with additional air inlets to improve engine cooling. The 5-liter V12 initially fitted to the LP500 was destroyed during testing and replaced with a 3.9-liter, so round up's like nearly 4 liters, V12, similar to the engine used on the production LP400. The LP500 prototype was destroyed in a crash test on March 21st, 1974, at the MIRA, which is Motor Industry Research Association, near Nuneaton, Warwickshire, UK. So it's a facility in England to gain European or Euro-type approval, even though its construction method was utterly unlike production cars. In 2017, a recreation of the LP500 prototype was constructed by Lambo Polo Storico, the Lambo's factory restoration division. The completed recreation was first So the completed recreation was first displayed to the public at the 2021 Concurso de Eleganza Villa de Este. The second Countach, or prototype, chassis number 112, so 112-0001, so 112-0001 was shown to the public at the 1973, so 73 Geneva Motor Show. Painted red, and at the 1973 Paris Motor Show, painted green. The bodywork of this car was much closer to that of the LP400 LP400 production model, and now incorporated the side NACA ducts and air intake boxes tested on the first prototype. So this car showed some styling details for the first prototype that wouldn't carry over into production, including both trapezoidal windows and a bumperless nose with silver recessed grille. I'll be back. engine service. This car showed some styling details. From the first prototype. So first prototype that wouldn't carry over into production. So production including trapezoidal windows and a bumperless nose with silver recessed grille. So silver recessed grille. This is the first car to be equipped with the tubular full space frame chassis used on production models. This car was fitted with the naturally aspirated 3.9-liter V12 engine. Say 3.9-liter V12. Although contemporary press releases still designated it as an LP 500, possibly because Lambo engineers still intended to use a 5-liter engine in the production model, in the production version. In addition to appearing at motor shows, Lambo engineers used the second prototype for road testing, and as a reference to create the wooden master. So the wooden master pattern for all body panels. This car currently resides in the Lambo factory museum. Alright. Heading up to the last parts. So the last pieces, and then we'll call it a night. The third Countach prototype, chassis number 112 0002 or just 112 0002. We're trying to shorten it away 112 or just double 0002 was shown at the 1974. So 1974. So 1974 Geneva Motor. So 1974 Geneva Motor. So 1974 Geneva Motor Show. So 1974. So 1974 Geneva Motor Show. So it's in 1974 Geneva Motor Show. So motor show. It was the first to be constructed entirely in the Lambo factory, except for the chassis built except for the chassis built by Marchesi. It's sometimes called the first pre-production or first production LB400 Countach. This car was painted bright yellow, and had the finalized production LB400 body style, which was 13 millimeters. So 13 millimeters, 5.1 inches. So 5.1 inches longer. So longer than the previous prototype. So previous prototype bodies to increase. So bodies to increase interior space. The trapezoidal side windows seen in the first prototypes. So prototypes was slightly changed to prevent the rear tires from rubbing when the suspension was compressed. To improve long-term durability, the thickness of the body sheet metal. So the thickness of the body sheet metal was increased from 1.2 to 1.5 millimeters, so 0.3 millimeters bigger, and both the suspension and the gearbox mounting points are made from tubing with a greater wall thickness. Last part now, that final part. The interior was changed, to final production form losing Gandini's electronic 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 diagnostic displays. So electronic diagnostic displays from the first prototype. In using instead conventional gauges manufactured by Stuart Warner. Alright. So alright, here we go. So that'll be it for now. For my next Countach video will be about the production history of this car. So that'll be for part 2. I'll try my best not to take that long, but I'll try as much as I can. Alright, so that'll be it. If you guys like this video, like and subscribe. So if you guys like this video, like and subscribe, comment down below what you guys think. Hit the notification bell and hit all so you're alerted when I make brand new uploads. Alright, so that'll be it. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So I gotta go. I'll see you guys soon in the next video. But until then, stay safe. Have a great evening. So stay safe. Have a great morning. And have a great but until then, stay safe. Have a great morning. And I'll see you guys soon in the next video. So take care, folks. Stay safe out there. So take care, folks. Stay safe out there. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye bye.